Good afternoon. Well, I thought we were finished with words. And I said, unless things go bump in the night, well, they started bumping in the night and in the day. Bumping, 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 repeating itself over and over and over and over in my head. Not by might, not by power, but by thy grace. Thy grace is my sufficiency unto all things. Everything was about grace. And then there was this little giggle that says, do you think you're going to stay in grace by looking graceful? You think you will look graceful getting to grace? It's not my experience. If it's yours, great. Not by might, not by power, but by thy grace. Am I still fighting good and evil and my concepts of what is good, bad, or indifferent, or makes me uncomfortable? Am I still doing battle? One time I did a workshop and was a participant in a workshop, and it was a huge room full of about 1,000 people. They had us form big double, triple circles where we all held hands so everyone was together holding hands. And the instructor told us to stand very still and look ahead of us and tell us what the hotel room looked like. And on one side, the man started describing a mirror and a table and a edge of a carpet and a skylight. And he came around the other circle and said, no, what do you see? And the guy said, well, I see double doors and a sofa and a palm tree. And the other said, no, this room has a mirror and a table. And he went around the room, and then he would turn us slowly and show us how literally everything is perception. And to deny someone else's perception of what the room looked like was me standing very, very rigid and not accepting that if that man saw a mirror and a table versus the palm tree and the double door, he was not wrong. He was simply having a different view and a different perception. And if we can't do that up here in a retreat, what chance do we have down there? I once lived in an apartment in Los Angeles with quite a few apartment buildings around me. And there were constant daily leaf blowers because every apartment manager had a different gardener on a different day. So there wasn't a day go by. And I was, well, maybe I'll get a petition up and maybe I'll go visit all the landlords and see if I can get them, I got to where I was crazy because where was my silence? Where was my beloved silence? But I was about to go to Three Rivers up in Yosemite for 8 days of silence with Mary Hunt. And, okay, just tie another knot. You'll be there soon. 4.5-hour drive for me up to the Sequoias. We're up on a hilltop in St. Anthony's Franciscan Monastery, the most gorgeous place. And Jeanette was there, I remember vividly. And we were holding the vigil. Came time for my hour vigil, and I go in, and we were in a circular chapel such as this one, much larger. And as I sat down and opened the meditation, the gardener came at this end of the building with a leaf blower and proceeded to work his way around the entire chapel the entire hour that I was holding the silence. I've never been disturbed very greatly by leaf blowers again. A little annoyed perhaps, but never with the resistance and how dare they. I moved out of that apartment eventually. I do know that I can stand on the law of whatever it is that I'm having conflict with or battle with will be healed or removed, guaranteed 100%, as long as I do my work of neutralizing it within my own being. Not by might, not by power, but by thy grace. And yes, it might take a little longer, but when that is removed, it no longer bothers one. Anyway, I moved away, and don't you know, I guess I wasn't finished. It wasn't a year and a half, 2 years later, I took another apartment directly across the street in the same apartment stuff. And sometimes those leaf blowers would come and go, and I would just smile, and I'd say, isn't that interesting? Dulcie, get it. You live in a land of leaf blowers, and you just do, They hadn't had, and not too long after that, they had some ordinance, and they had to have used certain kinds. But, it no longer tore my heart. It no longer did I think, I shouldn't have this. This isn't peace. This isn't grace. And then I moved into a place a while later, and these things the leaves kept piling up, and the dirt and the cobwebs and all this stuff was around, and I thought, gee, I wish a leaf blower would come by and get rid of this stuff. Are we never happy? Are we never satisfied? Can we smile and can we laugh at what it is that brings us our comfort and what we think is making us safe and non-disturbed? God forbid I'm disturbed. Oh, I still have my stuff and I still work on it. Think certain things just sit in my craw, but I know that if I'm wanting God's universe, and I say this, I'm speaking with a double language right now. I hope you can interpret. And I say God's universe because we're learning that what is. I can simply move away from what is disturbing me. I can stand right there in it and look at it. Like the Christ said, can you not watch 1 hour with me? Can you not know who I am? Can you not see my Christ? Regardless of what I'm showing you. Can you not stand and watch 1 hour? And none of them could. They couldn't. They all abandoned Christ in the last hour. And now here we are again 2,000 years later with the admonition from Joel and the masters that have gone before us. Yoo-hoo, tag, it's your turn. Can you not watch? Can you not know ye who I am? Does that mean I can't move to somewhere else? No. Does that mean I can't remove myself? No. But whatever the disturbance was will rise up right there until I myself say enough. I rest. I don't do battle. Resist not. For me, everything I resist absolutely persists until I lay it down and say, I have no more fight with you. I rest. I rest back in the only grace that I know of. Thy peace. Joel was so clear on where the peace is. The Master was so clear on where the peace is. It is not out there. It is thy kingdom, the kingdom within my kingdom of peace, grace, comfort. My kingdom is no part of this world. And yet here we are, duality, 1 foot in the third dimensional world with the leaf blowers or people that are just not straightening up and acting the way we want them to act. And the other foot in grace, thy kingdom, thy peace, and there we come. Mary Hunt called it the double-edged sword, right, walking the razor's edge. Walter Starkey calls it the double thread, as he saw the threads coming from God, one to his humanity, one to his spirituality, and here we are, blessed with the awareness and the opportunity to get what it is we're here to look through the appearances. Joel called it the mirage. Some people call it hypnotism. I like story until I stopped and would see what is really happening here. Oh, a man sitting in chair, until I tell a story about it. And I learned it with one breakup. When the man was walking away, I simply got, oh, when I took the fear off of, quote, abandonment, or the fear off of what my good would be now that man is walking away, and I did not do this gracefully, but when I worked and worked to get the fear out of what was happening, it was like, oh, man in shirt with pants walking away, back walking away. Ah, interesting. What does this have to do with me and my God self? What does this have to do with my divinity and my supply and my well-being? It's either me or it's not, and if it's not, I don't have much longer to worry about it anyway. It is I. It is I. It is always I. Don't tell the story around what is happening or the fear. It's always fear that makes me tell the story. And as I tell the story, it feeds the fear. And as the fear is fed, the story gets more dramatized and bigger than ever. And don't do this to yourself, and don't do it to me, and don't do it to your fellow. That is what they called malpractice, and I thought, oh, what a fancy word. What a fancy word. Malpracticing means I'm telling a story about you that means that you should be different other than you are so that I'm more peaceful and comfortable. No, no, no. Get back inside yourself. Joel says right off the bat in the wisdom, all conflict must be resolved within. I'm projecting what I'm seeing in this room. I'm projecting it out there. Turn the circle around and see that others are seeing something other than I see, and keep turning. Don't get rigid. There is no bend in rigidity. The willow tree in the wind can bend and go with the flow. Continue to live and stay alive and love. Living and loving are the same. And the Master speaks to us of this, and Joel speaks to us of this continuously. Take no thought. Doesn't mean blank your mind out and be stupid. It means make no story up about what is going on. Be at peace. Know ye who I am. Do not condemn those burning off their karmic bank. Do not condemn myself for the karmic bank I'm burning off, because I'm not high enough yet. And how do I get higher, quote, higher, wherever that is? How do I get lifted out of the third dimensional world that is telling me its power by pecking my way out. You know, a chicken, and this goes back to the question that Robert asked earlier, but a little chicken and egg that starts pecking its way out of its shell, if you help it and you open that shell, when it gets out, its survival rate is far less than those who had to work and build the muscle to peck its way out of that shell. When it gets out, it has the muscle now to run around and to fly. But if some human being comes by and sees this poor little bird or a poor little chicken trying to peck its way, you know, we think, oh, I'm going to help it. I'm going to help it. You're not helping it, because that individual must build the muscle necessary for the spiritual journey that it is taking. If not this lifetime, the next. Is it sad to watch that little chicken perhaps not succeed this time getting out of that shell? Perhaps. But its survival rate was no good anyway. Someone would have had to have had it in an incubator. Which brings me to this other analogy that I absolutely love. When you're judging your spiritual journey as being wrong because you feel like you're backtracking, or you feel like, what, after all I've known, how could I possibly have gotten caught up in this drama or this story, or how could I have possibly drawn this to me? Guilt trips none of us need. Do you know that when a snake is shedding its skin, it moves and wiggles out backward? Now, if that snake says, no, I must go forward, I must go forward, I must go forward, I'm not going back into that darkness of that skin. And yet the wriggling that it needs to build those muscles to be able to run faster from its predators and to be able to wriggle on the ground is built while it is discarding the old skin, and it is moving out backwards. The next time you find a little snake skin, you look and you will see the eye holes and the mouth holes completely intact because it has backed out of it. So don't condemn yourself or others for wriggling out of your karmic shell that is no longer needed. That's the old man, that's the old you, it's no longer needed. And that which comes out the back end will be strong enough to live in the new skin while it is getting conditioned to live in its environment. Oh, how we judge nature. Oh, how we judge our brother when what they're doing doesn't look like it ought to look on this path. How do we know what spiritual muscle they're building that may be taking everything in them to build it? You do not know their script, what they've come in with that they've decided. We do not know our own conditioning half the time till we start doing investigation, till we start working with someone that helps hold the mirror and show us what we're doing, so that perhaps we can wiggle backward out of that nonsense, and sometimes it looks like. And same with the safe. When you're trying to open a safe with the treasure inside, and that's what it is. Our kingdom is within, our treasure is within, and we're trying to open that door and see it, not knowing it is us right there where we are, right now, this moment. And if you turn that dial to that safe and you insist on continuing to push it forward, turning it forward, no, I'm not going back. I am not going back and pick up where I crawled out of. No, don't want to do that. Been there, done that. Here it comes again. The lesson, here it comes again, only this time less fear, less guilt, less condemnation, We back up sometimes to get that click that then throws that dial more forward so that that door to the kingdom, to the treasure house can be opened. Don't judge the dial. Don't judge the combination. You do not know your combination, and I do not know my fellow's combination. This path is one of gentleness, love, compassion. The Master laid it down, and he said, take up no sword. Not by might, not by power. There is no power in the third dimensional world. But you can get big enough to battle another power in the third dimensional world. Oh, you may fight it off back behind the enemy line periodically, temporarily. But if you haven't gone to neutral within yourself, that enemy line's going to start right moving back toward you again until you lay down the sword and say, brother, I saw you incorrectly. Lay down thy sword. It is I. Can you not watch 1 hour with me while I am asleep in hypnosis and know the truth about who I am? And we watch. We do our best to love. And we come together and we share our concepts with each other so that we can hold the light and say, I love you. I see what you're seeing. I see that you see the mirror on the wall and the table, but if you would just turn slightly around this way, you would see that there is no right or wrong in the room, that the room also encompasses the doors and the floors and the palm tree. And yes, you're right, but so is your brother right, because we live in a universe of holographic illusions, dimensions. This is a world of smoke and mirrors, like the fun houses. We pay money to go in them and get tripped. And yet when it's happening here in our lives, we get offended, we get downhearted, we get in fear. People pay huge amounts of money to get scared to death. Roller coaster rides, horror films. Why? Because it's an energy, and when we're feeling powerless, it's an energy that gives us the power that we think we need to take care of ourselves. And all we need is I, and turning away and saying, there but for the grace of God, the grace, there but for the grace of God go I. Brother, sister, pick up your cot and walk. I see who you are. I offer the cool cup of water, but you can walk with me, but I cannot carry you. The time for carrying others is over. This is how I stood up. This is how you can stand up. You're welcome to stand up next to me. A man cannot break your back unless you bend it. Cannot ride on your back unless you bend over and let him get on. I see your problem. I see your dilemma. Here, let's walk this way. Or I release you to go the way you need to go. I remember the time in my meditation I had to walk away from my father because he simply could not walk on the path. And where his path was leading him was not where I could go. And I remember him in my mind and sitting on a rock, and I had to tell him, come on, let's go. And he says, I can go no further. And I said, I love you. I love you and goodbye. I must walk this walk. And he said, that's fine. I cannot go. I choose not to go. I've gone as far as I can. Did I do that gracefully? Absolutely not. Did I think I was doing the wrong thing? Yes. But I also knew, as I had been told with my mother, we have our contract. That was God speaking. We have our contract and it's none of your business. What do you think this life of theirs has anything to do with the life of yours? Mind your own business. How am I walking? Mind your own business. There's only three kinds: God's, theirs, and mine. And if I'm uncomfortable, it's a notification that I'm in somebody else's business. Or I'm not tending to my own. Or I'm thinking that my business isn't God's. And when I go back, always, there's only one answer to any question, ever, ever, ever. God. 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 And there is no way that there is a separation anymore between me and thee. It is walking me, talking me, thinking me, being with me as I fall down, being with me as I get picked up or helped up back to my feet, but never with here, I'll let me carry you. It is with, come on, you can do it. You can do it. You can walk one more mile. You can do it. So while we're building our spiritual muscles, I'm going to make sure, I circled getting to grace is not graceful. Okay, on the door earlier was tag you're it, and then underneath that I put it is you. It is never Dulcie being God. It is the wrong posture. Why do you think it's taken 2,000 years for man to come to the awareness and the ability, the humility to get knocked down enough to understand that it is God living its life as me. It is not me living the God life I think should be lived. And when I get off on that kick, or any of us are off on, oh, I'm God now, whack. Oh, you think so, huh? Uh-huh. It's thy will, I surrender 100%. God, I know nothing. I don't know how to get up or sit down. I don't know what's coming next, because until we get to the next, which is the next moment by moment, word by word, pause by pause, God's not there. My head's up there without God. And that doesn't work anymore. We are forced little by little to get that we live here now, this moment. And God is always here now. But as Barbara Muhl said very clearly, but only when recognized. So if I'm uncomfortable, I forgot. And I call out, God, I forgot. If I still can't get reminded, I fall to my knees if I still can't get reminded. And I can't sit in that chair sometimes through it. I pick up the phone and I say to someone who I feel might remember who I am. And they say, it is all right. It is I. Come on, keep going. Be still and know, it is I. It's like snapping your fingers and the hypnotism breaks. Oh, I was in my story. I forgot who I was. It is God's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. And the truth is, He never took it away. The kingdom is ever not. The moon is never not full. No matter what it looks like, we had it the other night, and now last night is a little less, tonight a little less. It is always, always full, as Virginia said one time in class. And it is always, always, always God presenting itself in front of you, regardless of the costume or the script the person is carrying on in front of you. And when we can deliver the cool cup of water of recognition, great. Not always there that we can do that. It boils down to there's nothing to do but be and watch and pray to God for the muscle and the ability to love one more minute, one more hour. This does not mean we allow people to run havoc over our families, our homes, our lives. It means we can say, thus far and no further. And it's amazing when we do that within thus far and no further, but in the same moment delivering love and recognition, how it dissolves. We were talking at the table about the experience of a vampire and a Dracula, and how Barbara finally got her freedom and she was released from fear from then on. She was literally afraid of a thing that evidently appeared Dracula-ish to her, and she fought it and battled it until it came to her to say, I'm done. If you have more power than God, then come on and get me. And it dissolved. So if you're doing a fear, if there's something you're afraid of, challenge, okay? I'm standing on this path, the path of the Christ consciousness. I'm staying right here, firmly planted. I am not going to let that distract me off the path or scare me off the path ever again. Come on and get me. And you see, the Dracula cannot enter the path. It can only scare you off of it, scare you out of the kingdom, scare you away. And then it's got you. But you can get right back on the path just simply by asking, God, I fell asleep again. Bring me home to this moment, here now. And it dissolves. And then it comes around the other side of the path with the goodies. Barbara calls the path trust the Christ. Joel and the Master call it the kingdom. I don't know what I call it. All of the above, I guess. But I do know when I am being coaxed off by good or scared off by evil. And I am then in the dimension of duality, and until someone else helps to dehypnotize me, I'm usually stuck there, building the story bigger and bigger and bigger and getting more and more scared, or getting more and more goodies. And so we come home to the Master. There it is, in that moment, in that peace. Take no thought, for thought is battle. It does not need my thinking. It does not need my sword. It does not need a third dimensional power. All it needs is God acting through me. I am willing to be thy grace, God, but I know not how of my own self. Make me an instrument of that peace. turning our head away from something that isn't right for us is not doing battle. It's simply removing myself from the swamp and refusing to go back in the swamp, though there are people there saying, come on, embodiment can be fun, come on. It's familiar. We've come along now beyond that. And I think that's it. We're going back into the silence and taking no thought and allowing and watching and resting. For it is I.